What game should I play? You know what? Let's try a PC Engine game. Eeny, meeny, miny. Whoa.
Now that's an interesting cover. Tonight we're focusing on a PC Engine game known in Japan as Genji Tomaden. This game was originally developed by Namco for the arcade way back in 1986. Man, this game is as old as I am, and hopefully it looks just as good too. It was later ported over to the Japanese family computers and then the PC Engine in 1990. It would then resurface a few more times on mobile phones and even the Wii Virtual Console. But most of us Westerners would know it as the Genji and the Heike clans, which is part of the Namco Museum Volume 4 on the Sony PlayStation. It does have a sequel known as Samurai Ghost, but we'll save that for another review. Seriously, just looking at the cover art alone makes me want to know more about it. I mean, check this guy out. He looks like a Samurai Sting, or maybe even the Crow to be more precise, but wait until you hear about the plot behind this guy. So the game is loosely based around the real-life events of the Genpei War, which took place in medieval Japan. Now, I won't go into too much detail because a lot happened during this conflict, but basically, back in the day, you had clans fighting over dominance of the imperial court and control of Japan. This led to a lot of bloody battles, and eventually, one clan remained. Well, for the most part. In this game, the conflict has a more magical spin to it. You play as a fallen clansman from the losing side, who has been resurrected from the dead to avenge his clan. Yeah, sound familiar? It seems the enemy clan had summoned demons to aid them on their conquest to take over Japan, and so far, it had worked. You can't help but notice the similarities of this character and his story when compared to the Crow comics, which popped up a couple years later. I have to say, I think I enjoy this version of Resurrection and Revenge more so than The Crow, because this is about a freaking samurai and a bunch of Japanese mythological creatures. This is like the Japanese Crow, I guess. Or should I say, The Crow is like the American Samurai Ghost.
Well, now that we got the plot, let's pop this sucker in.
Okay, the title music is okay, I guess. Let's see how the first stage goes. Ah! What the hell? What's happening? As soon as I spawn into this game, I'm immediately getting pummeled. They spawn the same time you do. Most well put together games think to give you time to get the feel for the controls and spawn the enemies after a few steps, or when you reach a certain coordinate on the screen. But no, not Genpei Tomaden. As soon as the stage starts, you're already in the middle of mayhem. No time to think about anything except frantically mashing buttons and trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. You don't even know what objects can potentially hurt you yet. It feels like you just unpaused a session in which you were in the middle of fighting off multiple monsters. This is not a good first impression and shows very poor game design.
So yeah, when you start this game up, better have your ass ready, because it gives you no time to think about what type of game it is.
And what's with this music? It's terribly annoying and frantic. But hell, I guess that fits. The music alone gives me anxiety.
Well, let's hope it gets better.
So, as you figure out the controls, much like being thrown into a pool while not knowing how to swim, you eventually come across the Torii Gate, which takes you onto the next stage. Well, thank God the music changed to something a bit more soothing, and now we seem to be zoomed in on the character as we get harassed by even more demons. Oh Christ, here's something to watch out for. After you kill this sword-wielding skeleton dude, his remains still do damage, even if you walk on them. Well, I guess technically he was dead in the first place. Fair enough. Ah, we've reached another Torii Gate.
Now we're in a bird's eye view style. How many styles of gameplay does this game have? Not that I'm complaining. I actually prefer this style.
Oh geez, watch out for the demonic Japanese top spinners. It seems if you destroy the enemy spawn objects, they drop a blue sphere which helps restore some of your health. Your health being these 5 candles.
Which I think is a really neat way of using health bars, actually.
Each time you're struck, one of your candles will slowly burn out. Now that I've seen multiple stages and sprites, I can say this design comes off as lazy or maybe even unfinished. Some of the sprites look like they don't belong, or rather they were meant to be placeholders for something later on. It just feels rushed.
Oh boy, a boss fight.
But don't worry, it's pretty hard to lose if you can just crouch and swing repeatedly. Yeah, I don't think they thought this game through too much.
The only thing that's challenging in this game, and I assure you it is challenging, is the random enemies they spawn in front of you just to get in your way. Oh, and another thing that makes this game feel real cheap.
The enemies really have no strategic placement like you would see in a Mega Man or a Castlevania game. It's like they just randomly spawn these dumb enemies enough times to just get in your way. It's honestly a cheap way of increasing the game's difficulty. Sometimes when you land on a moving block and you try to jump, you don't. You just walk off and fall. This comes from the player detection not registering that it's on a platform. A rookie code mistake. I know this because I've programmed platformers before and I've made the same mistakes, but it's easy to detect and fix if you actually test your game for bugs. Sadly, it seems the only good thing about this game is its story, and there's not even much dialogue to take in.
Alright, I think I've had enough of this game.
No.
What the hell?
You must complete the game.
I don't think so. Well, that was weird. It's time to put that game back on the shelf where it belongs.